I wanted to discuss how you could maximize your number of citizenships in the same amount of time. What I mean is, how do you effectively schedule your residencies? Now, historically, a person would set aside, let's say, 5 years, give that much time at stretch to a particular country. You spend the 5 years and you obtain that passport. You apply for your citizenship. It takes a couple of years after. So you're looking at losing 5 to 7 years of your life just obtaining that one solid passport. The new strategy, or the modern way of looking at it, exceedingly as more and more expats are looking to optimize, gain maximum number of citizenships, collect maximum number of passports. Scheduling your time, let's say in a year, 6 months plus 1 day, triggers the immigration part of the residency for a particular country. Let's say then you're moving, you're effectively utilizing the rest of the half of the time in, let's say, another country, and you're utilizing that 1 day of the next year. Let's say you're heading 6 months plus 1 day in some other country. So you're automatically killing two birds with one stone. Now, let's take an example of Peru and Argentina. Both require a couple of years to citizenship, or let's say Dominican Republic. Dominican Republic is an unique example, right? It works slightly different. The residency is far more flexible than, let's say, Peru and Argentina. And let's say you are collecting two citizenships at once, right? You have residencies in both these two places. Then you have some other type of residencies, like let's say Mexico, where you're starting the clock, right? A lot of people believe in starting the clock, right? They genuinely like Mexico. They obtain the residency. They're waiting and watching. The rules don't require you to put in a certain amount of time in the country. It's very flexible. Your intent should be to obviously reside, either short-term or long-term. Those kind of residencies run in the background. You're starting the clock, they're running in the background while you're working on something else. And when the right time comes, you're about to hit your citizenship time frame, then you obviously want to put in the minimum amount of time required to be eligible for citizenship. So you're scheduled that at that particular point in time. So while that's happening, you're doing something else. You're doing some other residencies. You're scheduling those residencies, let's say 2 years, or maximum, let's say it takes 3 years for you to complete that. Once you're done with it, and you're moving to your next residency, where you're, let's say, putting in the year or the year and a half, and then you are eligible for your citizenship there. That way, in the same amount of time, let's say 5 to 6 years, you're obtaining multiple benefits in terms of citizenships. These are powerful, solid passports, very strong passports, right? Peru is very strong. Argentina is extremely strong. Mexico is one of the strongest that you can find in the world. Then you also have Paraguay and Ecuador. A lot of expats are working on the Paraguay option because it's not just going to give you that ultimate benefit at the end, but it's also giving you tax benefits. Let's say you become a tax resident of Paraguay, then you're looking at a territorial tax system, which is extremely important these days. Not everyone is willing to live in the Gulf, right? The Gulf does not give you any citizenship benefits. Unlike in Paraguay, you're getting an immediate permanent residency right from the onset if you choose that option, or you can also get the free option, the almost free option, which is the temporary residency. And that way you can start your clock. Of course, you can get a Paraguayan citizenship. It does have some restrictions as far as the dual citizenship is concerned. But if you are someone who wants to keep 2 or 3 citizenships, the right ones, then Paraguay sounds to be a good option. Also, Ecuador, again, you don't have to live in Ecuador unless you want to convert this into citizenship. You only spend the amount of time when you're sure you want to pursue this citizenship, you want to pursue this passport. It is a strong passport. It is a red passport. So let's say you've done with other places, you want to collect more citizenships, then you dedicate some amount of time, the minimum amount of time in Ecuador. Now, when you become a permanent resident in Ecuador, you're only looking at a year plus 1 day. So that's all that you're looking at to become a citizen. 6 months plus 1 day, 6 months plus 1 day, and then 1 day in your final year can get you the Ecuadorian citizenship. And this is one of the most important discussions that I have with my clients, where what are the different important citizenships, what are are the different important passports that you're looking for, how many you're looking for, and how do you schedule this appropriately. And the other thing is you want support at every single point in time, right? You want renewals in time. You don't want to be stuck there for weeks and weeks trying to get your benefits. You want a fast 1 day service. We do provide 1 day service in a lot of cases, right? Because we have the right attorneys who directly work with those immigration offices. It becomes a streamlined process. So you want the right guidance at the right time. So you're in and out in a flash. You are legally satisfying all the required stay on the ground. If you're looking for citizenship, right, a lot of these places don't ask you for any residency if you're not interested in gaining any citizenship. Now, if you look for similar options on the European side, you have Georgia, which has a temporary residency. Citizenship is possible. It's slightly more difficult. You also have Armenia, which does not specify any minimum physical presence for citizenship. Again, you got to be careful with Armenia. They obviously would want or question connections to the country if they're giving you the citizenship. So it's very important to establish connections with the country and maximize your connections with the country and document them at the right point in time so you can prove your ties sufficiently to the immigration authorities. And these are just a few examples. You also have the new entrant Cambodia in the picture. Before, this citizenship was inaccessible, but now with the CM2H, right, this is a pathway to citizenship. Again, a very flexible residency option, and you're locking in a very small capital. 100K is not a big amount these days, and eventually you return to then apply for your citizenship. There are a few requirements obviously you got to be careful with, but as long as you're starting the clock and you're running this in the background, at some point in real cheap, right, you are eligible to then become a Cambodian citizen. As I said, these are few options. There are several other options in Africa's, the Middle East. There are a couple of options, so you can conveniently plan these according to the diversification that you're seeking as part of your portfolio. This also depends upon where you live. If you're from the West, then the Latin side of things makes a lot of sense. Let's say if you're from Asia, Southeast Asia, or Europe, then something like a Georgia or Turkey or Cambodia or Armenia, those residencies make a lot of sense. Now, if you are interested in getting started with any of these residencies, I want to discuss how you can best schedule 2 or 3 or more residencies together. You can always reach us. We can discuss the best 1 or 2 options in your case and get you started immediately with the residency of your choice. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and turn on the subscription. And if you have missed my video on the 15 countries that offer immediate citizenship, hop onto this video. This talks about every single option in detail. All right, I hope you like this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up and catch you in this one.